in the year of our Lord, 2025, we are still doing this. We're still doing this.
I just can't. I can't.
I'm
I
like,
have no words. I think I'm still trying to get my thoughts together, like
yeah,
process it.
yeah,
But in the year 2025,
yeah. So if you're living under a rock and haven't seen a video floating around, there's a video of a young lady who has to go before her church and apologize for being pregnant. And you know, people are weighing in. You know how the internet does. People be writing their dissertations, child. But this is basically our form of that, because we're gonna talk about it. You know, church hurt and all that, comes with church.
Because when you look at, first of all, the attendance of church now is so low.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like, you know, when we grew up, church was like an experience. Like
every Sunday,
you had Sunday church, you had Bible study,
Wednesday Bible study,
you had any other like little social events they had going on. We were there.
Mm-hmm. Vacation Bible school,
vacation Bible school, summer. You know, that was during the summer. Mm-hmm. Right? You also had like the trips and stuff like that.
Trips, revivals.
You had to show up to church looking like something, dressed tight. Like, you got your stockings on? Oh, go put some stockings. You know, right. Like, church was
slips. Like, you got a slip on.
You better have a slip under that dress, under that little thin flow.
I can hear mommy now. Where your slip?
But I feel like there's a disconnect.
For sure.
Like, if we're seeing the attendance how it is now, like, the disconnect is what needs to be addressed. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like there's a level of honesty there to say what the disconnect is. And I mean, it's just not one thing, but to really address the real disconnect.
Yeah.
Case in point, making a young teenage girl stand up in front of a whole congregation of people, in front of grown men, that kind of pissed me off too. In front of grown men to the left of her, a whole, you know, section of grown men sitting there looking at her while she confesses her sin of, you know, adultery or whatever, having a baby out of wedlock. Fornication. Thank you. I was like, I know it ain't adultery. Fornication. And well, men sit.
God forbid it's not adultery. We don't know all the details.
Well, she ain't married. So it's with like,
she might have been married. I don't know.
Right, and that's the thing too. We don't have the details. Who is the person that got her pregnant? Because
why is he not?
Who's to say it was consensual?
Right. Exactly. That part.
Like, and then you got her up there apologizing. Do you even have all the
details? The trauma.
And who is your mother? Because your mother,
girl,
let you walk yourself.
That was my question.
By yourself.
Because my baby, first of all, ain't doing that.
Doing it.
Like, have the.
But if I was senseless enough to say, okay, she need to do that, walk up there with her.
Yeah, like hand in hand,
holding her hand, supporting her.
Child, there's so many things, so many layers, so many layers. Yeah, but I mean, I watch it and I think about like just church hurt in general, and how, like you said, there is a disconnect, and I think the disconnect is people really not understanding that the church is God's body, there to help you in fellowship, but it should never trump your individual, personal relationship with God and Jesus and, you know, whatever higher power that you go to. Mm-hmm. It should never trump that. And I think a lot of times the church eclipses through its rituals and its, you know, the things that you think you're supposed to do to be a good Christian or to be a good person who goes to your higher power. It eclipses the personal relationship where you just lose all discernment. Like, what mother allows their child to go up there and not click? Like
a mother that's been conditioned,
right.
And,
but that's what I'm saying. You're indoctrinated into this system of it becomes bigger than and more important than a personal relationship with God, and actually hearing from God and knowing what is right for an individual. Because even Jesus didn't require sinners to go before the public.
That's where I get so like frustrated with, and there's other religions, but I grew up Christian, right? Yeah. I get so frustrated with the indoctrination of Christianity, because it baffles me that you have a religion that is based on the teachings of Jesus, right?
Loving your neighbor.
This was a man
love
who
above
would call the pregnant woman sitting over there and say, "Come here, let's talk.
Right.
Come here, come sit next to me and let's talk."
Right.
Let's go for a walk.
Right.
Learn about one another.
Let's talk.
Let's fellowship.
Let's
Let's
spend some time and
without judgment.
figure out what
let me
happened.
Love you.
Right.
Let me just
spend
hug time with you.
Yeah.
That was who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, but it's so different in the church body.
Yep.
Right. That you have the rules, you have the traditions, you have the rituals, you have all of this that gets you so far away from what Jesus truly stood for
and what he called us to do.
So
love on people who are hurting.
That's the church hurt for me. It's like, yeah, you have such a brilliant man in this book that is teaching you all of these magical things. Mm-hmm. Let's be real, because he went to Egypt, he studied under magicians, under people that knew the secret laws. Mm-hmm. This is really what he was calling forth in a different way. And you have, but y'all lose all of that in indoctrination, and you have to do this and you have to do that, and it becomes what he was really against in the Bible was the Pharisees. Yeah, ritualistic. I see Pharisees all over again. Yeah, you've built up the business of church, because that's what it is. Church has become large and whole of business. Now, I'm not going to say all churches mm-hmm. had that mindset, but the structure of church is a business. That's what it is. And that is what he fought against. That's why there's this big disconnect, because as you talked about indoctrination, but also too, everything he's teaching in a way of how you should structure your approach and how you connect with people and how you guide them and teach them. Mm-hmm. It's not that, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's important for us to spend time understanding the word for ourselves, because what I saw in that video with that young lady, I heard it in her voice, the trembling in her voice, mm-hmm. the hurt in her voice, mm-hmm. the years in the future ahead of time where she's going to have to try to unpack what happened to her and how it made her feel. I saw all that mm-hmm. in that one frame, the years of trauma ahead. Yeah. I don't know how do we get back to, other than really spending time with and for yourself, and not like waiting every Sunday to hear the word, but like really mm-hmm. on your own, spending time in the word, understanding what it means, right? Mm-hmm. And just like really knowing on a personal level who God is. Yeah. Because that was not of God. That was not of the Lord at all. Yeah. And I think it's a shift in the message, right? So mm-hmm. again, Jesus came and he shifted the entire message. You don't have to, as the Pharisees show you, you don't have to do it this way. Yeah. To your point, you can go directly to You're right. You can go directly to God uh-huh. and have that relationship and have that communication and that connection. Yeah. It doesn't have to be through ritual. Like mm-hmm. that's not what this is supposed to be. Yeah. That actually disconnects you from it. And so I feel like the message has to shift. Yeah. But shift and change is, that would be hard, because church again has become such a power structure in our country and in our community, and actually internationally. Let's just be real. Yeah. Christianity, Catholicism, Buddhism, like Hinduism, all of it. All of it. Yeah. All of it. Like it's set up now. Your jacket flap is just hitting it every time you move. Okay. I'm just trying to help you. No. But we don't know if it's actually gonna make a sound. Okay. All right. If you reach over here one more time, because every time I move it, you move it back in, and it keeps hitting the. Like oh, okay. Hold on, let me try to move it. And get up off my jacket. I'm trying to help, child. Cause she be looking at me, y'all, and she be like, "Oh, my bad." Let's not act like you ain't had a couple of snafus. All right. So I'm trying to help you out. Anyway, what we talking about? Church hurt. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that church in and of it, I think there are two extremes here. I think people have a tendency when they see videos like this to be like, this is why I let the church go. I am done with church. It doesn't have to be that extreme, because there are great churches out there that serve the Lord, that do things the right way, and understanding too that people run churches. People are not perfect. There's going to be some things that are not great at every church, just like anything in life, but we're striving to be better. But there are churches out there that do things in a way that at least they are trying to walk in a way that Jesus would walk.
right? So when you see videos like that, I don't think the answer all the time is I'm just this is validation. I'm done with church, because that's one church. That's one experience. And it should, in my opinion, call you to say, how can I self be self-aware and evaluate how I can move differently if in any way that resonated and I have identified in some way with doing that to someone else. Mm-hmm. How can I be better?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think, how can I be better? I you already know me. I do have views on church because if people are really critically reading, again, the whole person that you've modeled this after, and church in a large part is based off of what Paul taught people about Jesus or about how to do things, right? I would say,
in a sense,
I would say, go back to, if your religion, your following, your mindset about your religion is, when you think of it, your reference point is Jesus, Yeshua, then go back to what he's saying in the Bible. Go back to what the instruction that he's giving. That's just how I think about it.
Yeah, I do. I think we just see things in a different perspective, because I see same teachings. Jesus had disciples. Jesus led flocks. Jesus went to different places and had sermons and preached and talked to people. It's not realistic for us to move like Jesus moved. So when you find fellowship with people who are like-minded, who want to do things and who want to do great for the community, that's church. So I think that people are modeling it, yes, after Paul, but also in a way after Jesus, but it's just not realistic to do things the way he did them.
Well, and I'm not and I'm not saying take it so literal to say, because yes, Jesus was a wanderer, like he floated. I'm not saying that. I do think, if that's, if you want to do that, try it, then by all means. I'm not saying that that's practical on a large scale.
Yeah.
For your local people that just want a place to come worship. What I am saying is the teachings, the messaging,
but not just a place to come worship. When you think about churches that do it the way that they're trying to do it, like Jesus, a lot of outreach, a lot of like food bank activity.
I'm not saying that's the only thing. Yeah. But I'm saying the local people that want a place, that want somewhere to go to connect.
Yeah.
Then they have that place. I'm saying the structures there, the churches that are built right now, they do serve that purpose for people, like you're saying, for people locally that want to have somewhere to go where they feel more connected. Everybody doesn't have the mindset that, okay, I can be in my house and I can commune quietly and go deep and really just connect. Everyone doesn't have that mindset. They weren't raised that way. So it is, to your point, good that if they don't have that mindset, they can go somewhere, right? However, now once you're inside of there, the person and the people that steward that place, they really need to be cognizant of the messaging that for sure they are spreading throughout the church.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, I'll say it this way. A lot of times people grow up thinking that I have to go to church to have a relationship.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Go to church, indoctrination.
Yeah, if I don't go to church, I'm not doing it the right way. The messaging is, you're a sinner, you're this, you're that, and the only way you become valuable is through the recognition.
This one way.
So there's a lot of messaging that is not in the Bible. Definitely messaging that didn't come from Jesus' mouth.
Right.
And so when you add the additional messaging, of course there's now disconnect. Of course there's now questioning and uncertainty. And we have more information out here that's available to us about who Jesus was, who Yeshua was, So my thought is, if we're going to have the structures, please be thoughtful of the messaging that's inside of the structure, because we need to empower people to be able to handle things on their own, to be able to know that they have the power out of their own mouth, the power in their own hand, the power. You don't have to go kneel and beg and weep and to feel like something can be done about your conditions and situations.
Of course.
And even your worth.
Of course.
So that's what needs to be shifted.
I think that needs to be shifted. I also think too, we have to come to an understanding of the church is the like I said earlier, the church is made up of human beings. It's not the answer. God is the answer.
Right.
So like going to church to save you is it's never going to give you what you need.
Right.
You know? So it's a mindset of knowing the word for yourself, knowing God for yourself, going to church for supplement, and going to church for community, and going to church for opportunities to provide outreach to different folks. That's what, in my mind, church is for.
So I think it's both and, right? I'm not looking at it as these exclusive things. I don't compartmentalize it that way. Yes, church is for that. That's awesome. That's amazing. If someone says, I want to steward a group of people in this church, again, that's the mindset of people, especially we're in the South.
I think we're saying, I honestly, I think we're saying the same thing.
Okay. So, right.
Yeah.
So it's both and.
Yeah.
It's both and. So if you're going to, I feel like there is that responsibility to really hone the message. Like you got to hone it. And to the other point, people have to, with all the information out here, you have to know the word and the information for yourself. You have to have that relationship. There's no one that can come to me like with certain things. I can be flexible and open to like,
yeah, for sure.
But there's certain things where if you tell me this is what it is, no, this is not what it is for me. Because as I've studied the word and as I know for myself and my relationship and my connection, that's not what it is for me.
Yeah. I mean, when I see that baby on the stage by herself, I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of layers of lost people guiding her.
Facts.
It's like, who in that whole scenario, because there were probably there were a lot of people in that room, and there was no discernment to say this is not the way.
Yeah.
That for me is like that whole,
and don't touch that table.
Right. Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot of, I mean, it was pretty clear for people who are, I feel like, that are self-aware and that have a relationship with God and with Jesus. It was clear that is not the way.
Not at all. Where's the love? Where's the?
I mean, she was met welcoming? She wasn't. I don't even think he hugged her when she came up.
Because a pastor would have said, "Come here,
let me love on you."
If your mom didn't walk,
let me stay here
with you and let me stand in the void,
stand in the gap,
and support you and cover you.
Yeah,
because
like they let that baby sit there by herself.
If you are. I can't, like, I'm trying not to go too deep. Let me at least cover you. Yeah. And if I don't want to stand there with you, let me clothe you with something so you feel like let me wrap you. Like, yeah. And I see so many churches, and not all churches. Yeah. But again, if we're going to have a church in the way that it's now, this is what is leading to the disconnect. Not all churches, but there's a lot of churches that touch a lot of people where it's being done in a harmful way, and it's not empowering people. So, I mean,
yeah, certainly. Like I said, I think that there's certainly a lot of good out there, but these instances highlight where we all can just really do better.
And what I do love is the people that watched it right out. And I can't say who inside of her church pulled it to the side and said, "Girl, you know I got you." I can't speak for everybody in that church. But I love the support that she received outside of it, just the pouring in of love and saying, "Okay, who knows this young girl? What can we do to help her? What can we do to be there for her?" I did love that because that, ironically,
that's community. That's church. That's love.
Should have happened. Is what. If you're comparing these two scenarios and then saying which one points more to Jesus and his teachings, it would be that.
Yeah. And quite honestly, for me, we can't say who, pulled her to the side and said, "I want to support you and I love you." But to me, that's not good enough. If you're in that room watching that baby come before the public, somebody, I don't care who it is, should have been there holding her hand and like really someone.
But
so for me, it doesn't feel like if you sat in that room and allowed it's not good enough to on the side say, "I'm with you." That's for me.
And that for me goes back to, do I not want to offend the pastor? Or do I, or am I thinking of offending
Yeah,
God,
yeah, yeah.
Because they're probably thinking, okay, if I walk up there, is he gonna say, is he gonna say, whose house is it? And that becomes another
That's
question.
another question.
Whose house is it?
Again,
Is it his
so
house?
you get
Is it the pastor's house or God's house?
right. So you're getting away from, again, what the purpose of the church is, and that's the body of Christ. So I mean, I completely agree with you.
I'm not saying, yeah, I'm just talking. Like, I just feel like,
yeah, no, I'm saying if that is the thought process, I am scared to go to be perceived as going against pastor. Whose house is it? You know? So these are all the dynamics of church. And again, not all churches, but of some churches that really call into question, how can we do better?
Yeah.
How can we really be in line with what God and what Jesus has called us to do as Christians?
Right.
Yeah. Child, I'm just thinking about right. Yeah, for sure. But I'm thinking about him saying she can't have a baby shower. Like a baby made out of wedlock does not, I'm paraphrasing, but I think something to the effect of,
interpretation.
Does not deserve any praise or
any celebration.
This is a sin, so it doesn't deserve celebration. And I'm just like, wow. I mean, that's probably a lot of people in his church he talking to.
And a lot of comments said that. I wonder how many people in your church, sir, had children, in wedlock. Like, how many?
Yeah.
But you have
a child. Statistics say 50% at least.
And then how many got divorced?
Divorced, yeah. So it's like,
so extreme.
Come on, bruh. Like,
divorce in your congregation.
Are you really hearing
divorce, Pastor?
Is this message really from God? So yeah.
And my answer is.
I mean, clearly, my answer is,
your answer
yeah, resounding.
I was gonna say it.
Yeah, but I do. I mean, I love the fact that people were trying to rally around her. I saw a post in support of, and then the person who posted it immediately was like, taking it back. And I'm not explaining why in these comments, but taking it back. But we know how church folks are. You try to you step in.
And she's a minor.
Yeah, she's a minor. You try to step in and fill in the gap, and then they would probably impede or, try to make it hard for her to get any of the gifts for the baby. Like, it just would be a mess.
Church, girl.
Right.
All these goods now belong to the church.
Exactly. So,
or her mother, who's to say her mom wouldn't have some ideas about, what to do with whatever she received.
Right.
My message to the young girl is, please don't let this be the experience and situation that you feel like you have to hold on to shame for the rest of your life. It's one situation that does bring a life, right? And so that life is here. It's going to be here, and it's going to be under your care and your mom's care. But this is not something that defines you, especially in a negative sense of your worth, your self-respect, and how you can build yourself up, as she continues to grow into adulthood.
Yeah. And prayerfully her mom and dad's care. I don't know.
Yeah, prayerfully.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, when I saw the video, my immediate reaction was just to pray for her. Like, yes, the message to her is, understand that you are worthy, right? But just praying that there is some intercession in the messages that she is receiving, and that she has people in her life that really can build her up from this.
Yeah.
I am prayerful that the life that is coming out of this is going to do some amazing things. Nothing is a mistake. That comes from God, and that baby has come from God. That baby is a gift from God. And I know that she and that baby are capable of, going above and beyond this. This doesn't define anything.
It doesn't have to stop anything.
Right.
It doesn't have to, halt anything. There will be learning curves for sure, because we're mothers,
right.
We know. But it doesn't have to end here.
Yeah.
Honestly, truly, it's just the beginning. You have a whole new life now. This is truly the beginning of a wonderful journey that you're going to take with another person. And so now you get to think about what that journey is. Take your time because you're young. But to your point, like with you, with me, I'm just sure there will be a lot of prayers, covering her that will be sent her way. But when you said father, at first I was like, I couldn't imagine Jamaris or Keith. And they are different from, I think, the men that would be in that church. But I couldn't imagine them seeing their daughter walk up to the front.
It wouldn't happen.
To explain herself and ask other human beings for their forgiveness that had nothing to do with the situation.
It wouldn't happen.
And so then I said, well, maybe it's a single. I said it screams single mother, but also too, I've also seen the other side where the father is so devout.
Girl, yeah, I'm like,
he like, you have embarrassed the family. You have caused shame on.
Because that's all I saw.
That's right. But then when I thought about that, I said, oh,
I didn't see single mother.
That screams devout father. That's like, you embarrass the family. You will stand up there and you will ask them for forgiveness and make it right, however you got to.
I saw a mom who allows dad to cause all the shots.
Mom who is sitting there wanting to cover her child, but knows that she can't because it'll bring wrath from her husband. Child to the child.
So we creating all these scenarios. Don't know none of it is true. But that's what I saw. That's all I saw.
Y'all adults should be ashamed of yourselves. That's all.
Ashamed.
Y'all lucky y'all wasn't up in the congregation. Because I just walked right up there with her.
I'm just thankful that generations are like really understanding what it means to inflict trauma upon somebody. But I really want this older generation to just, and I know that like people be set in their ways, but Lord, they inflict like so much trauma and they pass down so much of it that it is, it's frustrating. It's like you didn't see how it impacted you. I know a lot of those people that were sitting in that audience, they have some similar stories.
And then I scan to the young boys to the right.
Right.
That are watching this girl have to basically beg for people to see her as worthy again because I can't say mistake, whatever. There was a choice made.
There was a choice made,
and there was a life that was created. But now these young boys are seeing how young girls should be made to display themselves in front of people.
Yeah.
Based on their judgment. Right. Based on those people's judgment.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, well, I just pray it was consensual.
And that's the part too. I pray it was consensual.
Because you never even know on that
God, can you imagine the trauma if it wasn't? And now I'm asking God to forgive me and I didn't even ask for it?
Right.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I want to fight somebody.
I pray. My prayers go out to her, into that life that life that's coming from her. But what are y'all thoughts? I don't know if you've seen the video. I don't know.
My thoughts are Jesus be looking at, and sometimes I get annoyed saying Jesus.
Yeshua Messiah, and not even just Yeshua, because there was a lot of Yeshuas. Yeshua Messiah. Be looking like, where did the translation get? Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell anyway. I can tell y'all anyway.
Right. Stop. Because you about to go in.
I'm about to go in.
And we 30 minutes deep. Right. All right, y'all. Let us know what y'all think. Like, comment.
The translations, please. That's all I'm saying.
Like, comment, share, subscribe. We appreciate y'all.
Bye y'all.
Mother knows. Amber is over it. Mother knows. You over it?